Thank you, Comrade Nkolo, our women leader. I also say thanks to Comrade Job Moganedi, who helped us to organize this event. Comrade, thanks also for your involvement today here. We are a small group of people, but I want to ask you if you know a movement that started in Cuba. It was known as the July 26 movement, led by El Comandante Fidel Castro. And Fidel Castro said, I only had 8 real leaders with me. But those 8 people that I managed to gather around me was the core that made it possible to bring liberation to the people of Cuba. So comrades, let us never allow ourselves to be discouraged when our numbers are still small. Everything in life starts small. Have you seen what is a seed? It's a small little thing. You put it in the ground. You take care of it, you water it, the sun shines, the heat makes it to start germinating. And out of that small seed can grow a huge tree. One of the smallest seeds that you can find on the African continent is for the baobab tree. But one of the hugest trees in the whole world is the baobab tree. So comrades, as we stand here today, we must be that seed that is going to grow again the ideal of a struggle for freedom and for liberation in South Africa. We must be honest, comrades, our struggle has been betrayed. Many of us joined the African National Congress. Dr. Moganedi is here many years ago with great ideals, with a big hope of how liberation will come to the people of our country. But 30 years after the first democratic elections, on the 27th of April 1994, we must acknowledge that this organization that was a liberation movement, the ANC, that had great leaders such as Comrade Oliver Tambo, Comrade Chris Hani, Comrade Walter Sisulu, and many others, that this organization had betrayed our liberation ideals. People took over the ANC and started to use the ANC for their own self-enrichment. The leadership that we have in the ANC today under Cyril Ramaphosa doesn't care for the people of this country. They're only interested in filling their own pockets, in stuffing their furniture, their couches, their beds with illicit American dollars. They no longer care about us, the people. So what does one do when you're faced with such a situation? You can give up. You can become despondent. You can throw your hands up in the air and say it's over. Or you can say, I'm going to fight. I'm going to stand up and continue to fight for my ideals and the ideals that so many people in this country have laid down their lives, made the ultimate sacrifice. ARETA is that answer, comrades. ARETA said, when we formed it on the 23rd of February this year, we are not giving up. Giving up is not an option. We are going to fight. We're going to return to the original ideals of the national liberation struggle in South Africa. We're committing ourselves again to the return of the land to the people, expropriation of land without compensation. We're going to nationalize the South African Reserve Bank. We're going to create a state bank that will make money available for business people, young entrepreneurs to develop their own businesses. We're committing ourselves back to the original ideals for full liberation. Understanding that liberation can never just be liberation from racism. It must also be liberation from economic oppression and exploitation. That is what Comrade Oliver Tambo always told us. I listened to him many times on Radio Freedom. We used to hide in the back rooms as students and listen to Radio Freedom. And Comrade Oliver Tambo always said, liberation from racism must go hand in hand. He used to use the word must dovetail together with economic freedom. The empowerment of our people to be in charge of this economy, not to be under white monopoly capitalists, to have jobs, to grow this economy so that the majority of black and African people can be in charge. As we stand here, comrades, I look around. I see poverty. I see people battling. I see among some of the houses built here also shacks. This is not how our people should live. Our people should have the right to proper homes, to proper education, to jobs, to ownership of the land, to proper health care. And Dr. Job is one of those in our country that work day and night to work for proper primary health care. But all of those things, this failed ANC government has failed us. But as I said, we must never give up. We came here today because it is the 9th of August. And we must remember what happened on the 9th of August, 1956. When 20,000 women marched to the Union buildings. And those women were marching against the apartheid pass laws. They were marching against women being oppressed, women being exploited, women now also being included in the apartheid regime's idea of pass laws for everyone. And they said, no, we as women can never subject ourselves to the pass laws. We are the mothers of this nation. If you subject us to the pass laws, you destroy the backbone of our people, of our nation. And they stood up. They were also a small group of people when they started. I heard from those comrades who organized the march to the Union buildings, Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, Comrade Helen Joseph, Comrade Albertina Sisulu. They were a small group who sat around a kitchen table. And they said, we can't allow this to happen. We're going to fight. And they started organizing, and within a month or two, they managed to mobilize over 20,000 women to march to the union buildings. And as they arrived at the union buildings, they said to the then Prime Minister of the National Apartheid Party regime, Strijdom, they said, Strijdom, you've touched the woman. You've struck a rock. And on that rock, Strijdom was eventually destroyed, comrades. And women became the central part, the foundation, the rock of our struggle. Let us never forget, comrades, the role that Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela played. How she never went into exile, but she stayed inside the country and faced the terrible torture of the apartheid security police. I listened the other day to an interview of a young Comrade Winnie, where she told how she was kept in solitary confinement for 15 months, tortured, most of the time stripped of her clothes, left lying naked in an empty cell. And she said, at the end of those 15 months, I came out and I knew now I can fight even harder. And she explained why she would sing together with Comrade Peter Mukaba and other comrades, kill the Boer, kill the farmer. And she said, I was not trying to kill a particular white person. I was singing that song because I want to destroy a system that is destroying Black and especially African people. Recently, comrades, we again had this controversy about that song, Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer. And I went on television and I said, I've got no problem with that song. I sang it together with Mama Winnie and with Comrade Peter Mukaba many times, because I know it's not directed against any individual. It's against the system. Sadly today, comrades, the system that we have to fight no longer just has a white face. We now have a system where there are black sellouts who have been put up, who've been pushed there to front on behalf of imperialism and white monopoly capitalists. And the main leader, the main fronter of that system today is Cyril Ramaphosa. And sadly, they have now hollowed out the African National Congress and turned the ANC into an instrument of oppression, no longer an instrument of liberation. So for us, the challenge is, how are we going to stop this? How are we going to stand up and fight? How are we, as it is today, National Women's Day, going to use that word, that message that came from the 8th of August 1956, when the woman said, Strijdom, you've touched the woman, you've struck a rock. Today, as we stand here, comrades, you as young women who are with us know you cannot walk safely in the streets of this country. You fear to be abused and sexually abused and attacked every day. You do not know what the future holds for you. Gender-based violence is the highest in the world. Rape is the highest figures in the world. It is a shameful situation. And we in ARETA say that cannot be allowed to happen. That cannot be allowed to continue. But we understand that the suffering of women and of girl children in this country is directly related also to the economic exploitation and destruction of our whole nation. And that's why, comrades, today we're going to change the words a little bit of what the women who stood on the stairs at the union buildings said to that apartheid racist Prime Minister Strijdom. Today we take Strijdom out and we say, Ramaphosa, you've touched the nation.
Yes.
You've touched the youth. You've touched the workers. You've touched the women. You've struck a rock. We're going to destroy you. Our mission, comrades, small as we are today, our numbers not many, is to go out there throughout the various townships, everywhere in Gauteng, in the Northwest, in Limpopo, in KwaZulu-Natal, on the Western Cape, in the Northern Cape, in the Free State, everywhere. And to bring the message of ARETA that there's hope. To go out there and to mobilize our people to say, don't give up. Don't become cynical. Don't say there is a future. No future. There is a future. Mobilize. Take hands. Work to register every one of you who are entitled to be registered for the upcoming elections. Register. Make sure that you will be able to vote. And when voting day comes, vote right. Vote ARETA. Don't vote for sellouts. Don't vote for the ANC. Vote for the true liberation ideals of our struggle, which are encapsulated of whom the ANC no longer is the custodian. The custodian of those ideals, of those liberation struggle ideals, is now what you carry here on your chests, comrades. The African Radical Economic Transformation Alliance. You're a young man, comrade. Are you registered? Are you going to register? Are you going to vote? All of you, are you going to register? Are you going to vote? And are you going to make sure that the way that you relate to your fellow women comrades is one of dignity and respect and empowerment to them? That's my wish. That's my prayer. That all of us will stand together, join hands, and make sure that next year The message will reverberate and echo throughout South Africa. Ramaphosa, you've struck a rock. You've touched the people. On that rock, you will be destroyed. A luta continua. A luta continua. Viva ARETA, viva! Viva ARETA, viva! Malibongwe! Malibongwe! A luta continua. Thank you, comrades. Thanks for your presence here, and thanks for your commitment that the seed that we plant today will become the revolutionary baobab tree of